Welcome to another episode of the Sawdust Nation podcast, 116th episode. We're just trucking along with your hosts, myself, Nat from Naps Snyder Works LLC, Josh from North Country Woodworking, and Nick from MPG Creations, and special and always welcome guest Daniel from PWN CNC with some great stuff today. Before we get into our shops, Daniel, because you're a guest, we're going to kick it on over to you first. So what's going on in your shop and in the world of PWN CNC?
Well, in the last week was my birthday. And
Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday.
So I decided to give everybody a gift and come out with some brand new upgrades.
Whoop.
So, some industry-changing upgrades, I have to say.
Yeah, there were some people that weren't happy with some of my comments when we talked about industry-changing upgrades.
What do you mean?
We won't say names, but we'll just say Daniel put something up on the old book, and I said, man, you're just making, redefining the definition of plug and play in the spindle realm. And we'll just say there was a comment of, there are many different ways to skin a cat. This just happens to be the nicest looking one.
Well, I was watching Daniel's video on YouTube recently. Daniel, I enjoy your videos. I have a clip of it here. I don't know if you guys have heard it yet. No.
Don't do it now.
Not even for the patrons?
Oh,
what's
that?
that?
The patrons do it.
For the patrons?
For you.
Right. This is the audio. I've been waiting months for you to come back on and do that.
Anyways, Daniel, go ahead, brother.
Sorry, go ahead, man. We interrupted you.
Well, the present that I'm giving everybody are these upgrades, right? So I've eliminated the option to not get a spindle kit without an enclosure. So now everybody gets the best, which is the enclosed. And specifically, the IoT relay, for a limited time, everybody gets a free power strip. I mean, that's got to be cool.
Wow,
right?
nice.
It that power strip plugs directly into a very simple plug right into the side of the VFD. The VFD or power strip, plug and play. You just need a 2-conduct power strip and the no more confusing or tons of research to figure out how to do it. The reason why you want this is because you plug your shop vac right into it, and when the spindle goes above 5,500 RPMs, it will trigger the shop vac turn on automatically. Now,
Nice.
I've ran this like dozens of times on my own CNC, and biggest advantage is when I'm out here on a Saturday working really hard. I have a cut going on one machine. I'm doing things on either soldering or doing something else. When the machine finishes cutting, it stops the spindle automatically because it's plugged into the controller. But now it also shuts down the shop vac automatically. So I can keep working on the soldering, finish that up. When I'm ready, I run back over to the machine and get ready for the next cut. It's perfect.
So does it work just on a shop vac, or will it work on a dust collector as well?
So the power strip, the specific one, this the one from Data Loggers is where I purchased it. You can buy it off from Amazon. You can buy it off from my website. Again, it comes with the kits for a limited time, but it can support up to 30 amps of 110 power. So you can technically plug in a Harbor Freight dust collector, the 2 horsepower double dust collector.
Awesome. That works great.
It's the dust collector I had for the longest time before I was finally able to upgrade to one of those fancy G700s from Harvey.
Yeah, just keep bragging because, I've only been looking at that for like the past month or so. And I'm like, man, I really want one of those, but I ain't got the room for it.
It is as quiet as my Fez tool. So if you've been waiting, get it.
All right.
I would love
I'm going on the website right now. Hang on. I'll let you guys know.
You said no more tools.
No, sir. I did say a dust collector. I did say that.
Yeah,
I said dust collector, and I said, what else did I say? I said 2 tools, dust collector and one other thing. I can't remember what the other thing was, but dust collector was on that list. Continue on.
Damn, you got me. Ladies and gentlemen. Got me.
But yep, the IoT relay for the dust control is like awesome. That's the biggest feature ever. The other things in order to make this thing plug and play is the spindle cable. I actually have one here for those on the Patreon, but the spindle cables now come with 2 connectors.
That's
One is
awesome.
a female that goes into the motor. The other one is a male that goes into the VFD so that it can just simply plug and play your spindle cable, which is just awesome.
It's kind of crazy to me that there's a lot of people out there right now that are selling these plug and play spindle kits. Now, not just because you sponsor us, but I want to say, like, you've gone above and beyond to provide like the best product. And when I say that, you could actually have a noob who like completely never touched the CNC, probably pick up your spindle kit, okay, and go with it. Like if they want something quiet right off the bat, like, oh, I've heard about this spindle game, like it should be PWN CNC. Like you've literally made it new maker proof. We'll call it that because I don't want to insult anybody, right? Because at the end of the day, like why would I do that? But no, you literally have a new maker, pick up your spindle kit and run with it. Like that's, I think, excellent. It's one of the best things that I think I've seen out there.
It's exactly my goal when I first started out doing these spindle kits. It's what I wanted with the dust boots. It's what I wanted with the spindle kits when I first started buying those and trying to come up with some sort of kit. I'm just so glad it took me a little longer to get there. I mean, I am a one-man shop, but I'm there, and I'm super happy to get this out there.
Well, then you've always done it correctly. You've recognized the fact that people want simplicity. They want a plug and go, and it didn't really take you that long because the quality that you're putting out is beyond anything that's out there, and that alone sets you apart. Now, the easy use is just that's a further separation between the competitors that are trying to do what you're doing. I mean, we've said it a couple times on this podcast, but that's how you set yourself apart. Quality in just thinking ahead. You're always about 10 steps ahead of everyone else.
I've learned how to interact with makers, for other people who make things. Whenever I release a new, like this spindle kit, there's upgrade kits that you can do it yourself. So that if you wanted to install, if you've already got my enclosure, you want to add the IoT relay and all that stuff to it, there's instructions up how to do that. This time, upgrade is more complicated than normal to do without their machine for a couple of weeks while they send in their VFD. I will upgrade it for you and send it back with a free power, the IoT power. It's a good thing. In fact, I've got two folks who sent in their VFDs already, and they're getting their full upgrade, the full cable upgrade, the full a plug and play experience, the free power strip, the whole 9 yards. They should be going out here either Friday or on Tuesday.
Well, I got to tell you, as soon as I get done upgrading my CNC and getting the Avid built, I'm going to be sending you that spindle kit, the PWN spindle kit. What are we going to do with it?
Well, we're going to upgrade it, of course.
Yeah, and
It'll be a giveaway.
Yeah, remember that? That's like going to be.
Yes.
I apologize. It hasn't been sent back yet, but I don't have my Avid up and running yet. I'm taking my time putting it together, I guess.
He's learning that there's a little more than meets the eye with that little guy.
Honestly, my workload is so darn heavy right now that I haven't touched the machine in over a week. I spent all last week putting it together, and I have to still do all the wiring. So,
ooh.
Yeah, that is a complete kit.
Real quick, Daniel.
Yeah.
So I got 2 questions from the chat for you. Okay. So talked about your IoT relay. Victor over at Wim Designs, he asks about a 220 IoT relay. Is that something you're entertaining in the future, or do you already have that?
So the advantage of the IoT plug on the side of the VFD is it shoots out a 5-volt signal, which is what the IoT relay from data loggers reads in and triggers their event. So it triggers their on status. So it would definitely be through them. They were the ones that developed the 110. So it'd have to be through them. Personally, I don't have any plans for coming out with my own IoT relay power strip, but I can certainly look into it. What I've learned of it, it's a pretty simple design, very easy to put together. So I'll look into it, but it won't be very fast.
I think that's more or less because, like, and I even had an individual comment on a post that I had with my dust collector and the Easy On with like the little key fob deal, you know. They brought to light like the auto on, and a lot of folks look for the auto on because I ain't gonna lie, if I ain't gotta push a button, it makes it that much easier. But when you start dabbling in like that 220 realm, it's kind of like one of those things like there is stuff, but it's kind of fuzzy. So I mean, I look forward to if you do come out with a 220 thing, because eventually, you know, I'm gonna want to get that 700 series Harvey, back. That would be really nice to have in the shop. But then the second question we got is from Vampire Wolf. It's the whole, do you sell the actual water cooler? Is there, I know you don't, but is there something in the works later on maybe to source a water cooler with your water-cooled spindle kits?
So, yes, but it's another longer-term project. I've reached out to a couple of manufacturers of the obviously the CW3000, which you can buy off from Amazon, is pretty it's pretty cheap. It's about $300 or so. I've reached out to a couple of Chinese manufacturers who do build those particular products, that particular product. I've tried to get them to send you some ideas on how to adjust it for my specific needs. Are you willing to make those changes so that I can buy maybe 100 or heck, even 1,000?
Mm-hmm.
So far, I've been getting no's, but I know for a fact there's going to be a yes at some.
I mean, there would have to be. If you're saying like, hey, let me buy 1,000 of them coolers, though, they're like, I mean, that's money. I mean, over at the end of the day, that's money for another company. They eventually got to say yes. I hope they do, because that would be awesome to have your own PWN CNC cooler with your spindle kits. I mean, you've already made leaps and bounds with what you have as a one-man shop. I mean, there's freaking like teams of people that haven't even made the leaps that you've made so far, and you're just leaving everyone in the dust. Yeah,
that haven't even started to reach out in the way you have. Like I said, you do it right though. You're part of the maker community. You have the pulse of what's going on. You talk to people. I mean, your customer service alone is something that is completely amazing. And then with that water cooler, that's a complete kit. I mean, like you could purchase everything you need at one shop. You'll get that yes.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I'm pushing hard. I really want it. But as far as customer service, I can't tell you enough how much Clinton has been helping out with that. He's on chat. So if you guys go to our website, theponecnc.com, hit the little chat now button down at the bottom. There's a 70% chance you'll get him, and there's a 30% chance you'll get me.
Well, I mean, you're a busy man though. Like Clint's been holding down over at PWNCNC as far as customer support is concerned. I mean, you're over there developing, well, the next generation of upgrades for the hobbyist CNC. I mean, I'm so excited, man. I cannot wait until maybe like a CNC surfaces one day.
Actually, I had a question about that, Daniel. So I have this, I don't know, it's like a logo that came with mine, and I was wondering if I could just throw your logo on there. Is that cool with you?
Sure, I'm good with that. Go for it.
All right, cool. I'll print an acrylic sign that goes on there, and it'll be like, yeah, I'm sure Avid will love that.
They won't mind.
Anyway, we got the okay, Nap. Now you can do your Onefinity too.
Hey, listen, my Onefinity is becoming a monster every day, and I'll talk about my shop eventually here. There's so much that's going to happen. Hopefully, in the next couple months with my CNC. I've only been watching, these 3 horsepower spindles, these 1/2-inch bits, these like what they can do. Ooh, man, I can't wait to talk about it. But anyways, let's see, Tim. So Vampire Wolf in the YouTube, for all those that don't know, that's Tim over at Gears and Fire, and I'm pretty sure I knew that's what it was, but I didn't want to accidentally call it the wrong person because that would just be awkward. But let's see. So I think the tricky part is quantifying how much extra life the water cooler will give towards the spindle versus competitor setups. I'm going to tell you what, Tim, competitor setups at this point, based on what I've seen in the community, looking at both Shipoko, looking at Onefinity, and even on the ever like falling off the World X Carve, there's not a whole lot of people that are holding strong to what Daniel provides.
X Carve only has air powered or air cooled.
Yeah, air cooled this part.
Yeah, competitor out there that has a water cooled system at this level? Because I don't know.
Not like his, no.
I think you can. I think the only thing that rivals Daniel and doesn't even hold a candle to it is the Amazon water cooled, like the crappy ones you get off Amazon.
That's the one that I started with. I'll tell you what, when we started the spindle game, I'll tell you what, when Daniel was selling his dust boots, before we even ever got in a spindle game, it was funny. I was like, Daniel, you got this really cool spindle setup. Tell me about it. I got like 20 Amazon links. And I was like, all right, cool. You're going to help me set this thing up? And he's like, oh, yeah, I got you. And I kid you not, like Daniel walked me through the whole thing. And then not even a month or two later, Daniel's like, you know what? Instead of doing this, let's just go ahead and do this. And thus spawned the PWN CNC spindle kits, which I'm going to tell you what, I can't be any happier. I have a water-cooled PWN CNC spindle, and it's a monster. But what's going to be a bigger monster is that 2.2 kilowatt spindle when I get that sucker. I cannot wait. But anyways, Daniel, you got anything else to say, brother? I know you got a lot going on over there.
I am making final arrangements for us to show up at Workbench Con. We will be there.
Yay!
I'm ready to drop the check right now. They just send me the contract.
I'll give you my routing number and my checking account. You can go ahead and just deposit it now.
He already has it.
Yeah, with Workbench Con, Daniel, I'm hoping I can make it. Funny thing about the military is they're like, hey, we got inspections in March. I'm like, what? So I'm really trying to be there. Hopefully we can be there.
There might be a kidnapping in North Dakota. If
there might be an AWOL event. I'm joking, Air Force. Please don't come find me. No.
Well, that's why it's a kidnapping. I'm definitely gonna try. You won't know about it.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna try my best to be there. It sucks when you're the boss and you have to kind of be here for those sort of things. But we'll see what happens. But I am planning to be there as of now. So
it's gonna be a good time.
So the last thing is we still need to work out what we're going to put on our shirts for that event. But speaking of, I now have awesome swag up on the website. I even have some snapback hats up there.
Dude.
And of course,
yeah, I need a snapback.
I gotta go buy one now. I gotta go buy one right now.
Hey, just add that to my bill. So whenever we do the 2.2 kilowatt spindle thing, like just add that to my bill, put it in the package, and I'll wear that sucker proudly. Hey, have you got flags yet, though? Hey, like for real,
no.
You need to get flags, man.
I want to fly your flag behind my CNC with the Onefinity CNC banner, because like that's literally like the lifeblood of my machine is that damn spindle. Like I got the amazing Onefinity mechanicals, and then I got the awesome PWN CNC spindle behind it. So I mean, that would be cool to fly right next to each other, you know.
I want to float this past you. So for the t-shirts, why don't we just put like CNC domination, and then underneath that you put there is no safe word. I'm just playing.
I like that.
That's
I mean, it's kind of gimmicky, kind of catchy. It means more than one thing.
Hey, I'll tell you what though, if all of us are there at Workbench Con, you got to believe that we're probably gonna have some drinks together. Like that's gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
There's gonna be a couple dumb nights. I have.
I don't drink. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut up, Nick. You got a fucking a wall of liquor behind you.
That's because I don't drink. I'm just saying I collect.
Wait, hold on. Real quick.
Later.
why do you have a cast couch in your office now?
Don't ask. Don't ask. I was trying to hire help for the garage.
Yeah, some help.
Yeah. So, like, it keeps changing every time we get on the podcast. The background of Nick's shop or his office changes.
More like man cave-ish. So I've got my Pete Rose baseball card collection up there from the 60s.
Honestly, that's super cool. I mean, most people won't understand why, but that's cool to me.
And then I've got my bourbons. So
you have a root beer bourbon yet?
Root beer? No, I do not. I didn't even know they made root beer bourbon.
The only place you can get it is at Gatlinburg. And I've got I swear, I think it's 3 cases, like 20 bottles.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Daniel, add that to the bill, bro. Send that my way.
Is it good?
It is. It's got a nice root beer aftertaste.
Okay.
So it's got a great bourbon flavor and then a root beer aftertaste, which is just nice to just sip on.
But man, that's a lot going on in your shop, Daniel. I got to say, the whole giving away a free power strip is pretty awesome deal.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of power strips, I have one. I think I talked to you about this on Facebook about like the 15 amp little switch deals. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can't return it now, and I have no use for it because it's not what I wanted it to be. So I need your address because you'll probably use it before I do, or Josh, somebody, because I'm not going to use it. So I'll just send it to either you, Daniel, or Josh, or maybe Nick. Nick might not need it. What is up, Brady? What's going on in the background there? What's up, Hunter? Miss you
Boys
guys.
in the house.
Hey, my boy misses you guys. Just saying. He has asked for Brady and Hunter a couple times. Not going to lie. He's like, Brady, Hunter? I was like, buddy, we don't live there anymore.
Yeah,
that's the sad part about being in the military, folks, is when you move away from, some solid folks, and Nick just left for a second there, but it sucks when you're in the military. You leave some solid folks, and, when your kids are involved, that it's kind of like one of those heart wrenches.
Sorry, guys.
It's all good, man. But yeah, my boy misses his boys. Hopefully one day we'll be reunited. Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, I'm sure.
We'll see where retirement takes me.
When we're all working for Daniel and have to move next to each other.
I'm telling you what, that's going to happen. Daniel, I will be your employee. Let me skill bridge with you. I'll learn how to do your stuff. And
oh, yeah. Nick and I are going up to that, so we don't need to talk.
But yeah. So, Daniel, you got a lot going on, man. I'm glad that things are very prosperous for you over in your shop. I'm glad things are just moving along as we go. I mean, shoot, as the podcast goes, it seems you just keep growing every week, really. Your updates have been phenomenal. And you're making the maker community much better for it. So I appreciate you. And
He's the man.
I can't see Daniel.
Nap, why don't you take it off with what's going on in your shop if Daniel has nothing more to add here? You good?
Anything else, Daniel?
Yep, I'm good.
Nap, the floor is yours.
All right, guys. So we got a lot going on in the shop, and by a lot, I mean just really one thing, and that's that damn laser. You've seen a lot in my stories, in my reel. It's like, I woke up in the morning, everything was great, and everything just went to shit. Literally, that's what happened. But before I get to that, I did glue a bunch of boards up for that Heritage board project, if you will, for the BMT Squadron. I finally just got started on it. Dude hasn't sent me the plates yet, because one thing is, like, I can give you a measurement for a plate with the holes and everything, but the deal is if I don't have the actual product, I can't give you an exact alignment for those boards with laser engraving and all that stuff. So I did the hard work of getting things glued together, get the boards ready, and then once I get those plates, I can measure some things out, throw those things through a drum sander, do all the fun stuff, and then fix my laser. That's coming in a second. And then send those on their way. Air Force Ball stuff for here. I mean, that's not until 29th of October. So I got quite a bit of time for that. So I kind of picked a good time to do what I need to do to my laser. And Daniel, you'll appreciate this because you have the same laser I do, the old FL690 back there. I decided to go on an adventure. So I'm one to always look for upgrades. I love making my stuff better. I'm making things more a little streamlined, all those things. So on our lasers, Daniel's and I's lasers, there is this laser pointer. It sticks off to the side. sometimes it gets bumped. It really isn't effective. And I wanted to do this thing with a laser lens combiner on my number one mirror. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, now mind you, I haven't been very busy with the Instagram between being a boss and all these other things in my real job and doing things in the shop, which has been more weekend warrior type stuff rather than during the week. You'll notice that I started an upgrade on my laser. Well, that would be the Mirror 1. Well, Mirror 1 has been, we'll just say Mirror 1 is the most important mirror on the laser. If you didn't know that already, well, you do now. If you don't watch a bunch of how-to videos or these things, or even have any idea on what you're doing, do not do what I'm doing. So if you're listening to this, do not do this unless you have a very good understanding of how lasers work. So I would like to think I have a pretty good understanding of how lasers work. And, well, I'm having an issue. So I have this laser combiner. It has the red dot laser pointer in the back where my tube is at. It hits this very special lens that reflects the laser all the way through to all my mirrors and down the third mirror, which goes down to the nozzle, which hits my piece. But then also it allows the CO2 laser to shoot its beam through that lens and do what it needs to do. It is a very special lens, and I won't get into the science of it, but at the end of the day, it has to do with the wavelengths of the lasers, which allows that lens to do what it's supposed to do. Some OMTech lasers do have this feature. Some do not. I think it just has to do through attrition. It's just how it is. Like, it depends on the laser you get is, well, what you get for feature. Well, I decided to upgrade it. It required me to remove the entire top portion of my laser in order to get to the number one mirror, in order to thread, or we'll just say properly install fasteners. So I did get a tap and die kit because if you don't have that, it's very hard to thread fasteners in sheet metal. So I did end up getting one of those. I'm trying to line this mirror up. Everything's working great. But then not working great at the same time. So I'm running into an issue and thinking through it now, and multiple days of not touching it, because sometimes you got to walk away. I got to say, I was pretty pissed off while working through this because reflection of laser beams is not as simple as it sounds. The slightest movement will give you a very drastic reflection of the beam. But then there's also the red dot laser that you're also trying to match with it. So there's a lot of things that go into it. I did not anticipate these things. However, by the end of this week, if I haven't figured it out, well, I'm probably just going to give up, send that mirror back and that whole setup back. And I'm going to go ahead and put my laser back to default settings. Josh, do you want it?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome. Unfortunately, my OMTech did not come with that, and I've been looking for a better system myself. So maybe we could talk offline about if you don't want it, I might take that. And
we can talk offline if I don't figure it out, or even if I do figure it out. Because at the end of the day, because guess what?
I'm curious where you got it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that was a thing until you brought it up last week. I'm like, wait a minute, OMTech has that in their lasers?
So some of them do. It's very few, I think, of them that have it.
It might be a newer edition in like a certain model level. You know what I'm saying?
And it could be. But this particular upgrade is very advantageous for the folks that use their lasers quite often, that do big pieces, small pieces, that are afraid to bump that stupid little laser pointer that's sticking off to the side. It's a thing, okay? And I will figure it out. I will be triumphant. Tomorrow, I'm going to tackle that. I'm literally going to tackle that thing after work tomorrow, and I'm going to figure it out before I go to sleep, even if it's midnight. Because I'm not one that likes to quit when it comes to these sorts of things, especially when I dive into them. Once I figure it out, I'll pass the knowledge and info on to Josh. And hell, maybe even Daniel. Daniel might even like it, because that laser pointer thing it's honestly a pain in the butt. Okay, let's just be frank. Anybody that's got a laser that's got the little laser pointer sticking off to the side, it just is a pain. I would love to have something where if I focus it, I know where the laser pointer is, where the laser is going to hit. I shouldn't have to guess, or even have like that small bit of guess.
Well, those small adjustments for that laser pointer are very hard to get dead on.
Yeah.
Even when you get it dead on, it might move and you not know it. So like your system seems to be an excellent workaround. I'm glad you found that.
I've had to give a little extra buffer on all of my stock pieces to make sure that there's extra room on edges so that I don't actually cross over those edges and make a part that's bigger than the stock. So it's important. So I would be very interested in this upgrade.
And I'll tell you what, Daniel, once I figure it out, brother, I will let you know. I will let Josh know. And hell, even Nick, if he doesn't have the combiner, I'm pretty sure Nick actually doesn't have the combiner either. And Clint, I'll tell you what,
Fire took care of that.
And Clint, I'm pretty sure he's triple CNC.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so he has a combined beam. Must be nice. I wish I had it. But I will figure this out, and I will pass the information on to everybody once I've 100% dialed it in. There's not a lot of videos out there for this. I've scoured YouTube. There's a lot of people talking about how their product is freaking amazing because it's got it. They have this awesome housing that does the whole thing. But here's the deal. Not everyone gets your product. No offense to the big companies out there. Not everyone gets your product. So maybe putting the science behind it or putting the theory behind it to help folks get their stuff taken care of would be more beneficial. But I will do that. I will take on that little task and help the community out with that. But that's like the biggest thing going on in my shop right now is figuring out like what I need to do to make this thing work 100%. I will say certain models of this particular mirror are very important. There's some that have like the little wrench deals to adjust the actual pointer to go left, right, up, and down. I would wholly suggest Cloudray's version. So Cloudray actually has a lot of really good user-friendly options when it comes to this stuff. I don't think I got a Cloudray version because the one I saw on a video, dude had like actual turn dials for his mirror. I didn't have that. I've got a Allen key version and a lock nut. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have my laser or Daniel's laser, there's no way to access that without bumping the first mirror and completely jacking up your alignment. So, yeah. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a laser that actually has access to that, you're lucky because I have me, Daniel, and anybody else with the type of laser we have has to go through a bunch of extra work to actually get that done the correct way. But I will conquer this thing. I'm almost infuriated talking about it because it's such a simple task to get a mirror to bounce the damn laser beam off to the second mirror. But in theory, yes. But to make it to where you have perfect center, so believe it or not, the first pulse to the that was a weird symbol. Sorry. The first pulse to the first mirror.
To a side view.
Yeah, side view. The first pulse to the first mirror frame, we'll call it, is extremely important. You want it dead center. And if it's dead center and he gets to your second mirror, you can adjust. Like a guy that I watch, and it's not a particular person, it's just a video I caught. He talks about like you can move receiving and sending mirror. Well, I would prefer to move the receiving mirror because I've already set the sending mirror up. Like it's perfect the way I want it. So you want to have it hitting that second mirror with enough play. But enough on the laser talk. I'll have plenty of videos and reels and whatever the heck else everyone likes to watch, trying to figure it out. And if you don't understand through any of those things, just contact me. I might not be free right away because, I kind of have a real job now. So that's what's going on in the shop. The drywall and installation is going up also this weekend. That's why this week I need to figure out this laser deal because I would love to get the drywall up. The heater is freaking awesome. I kicked it on because it started to get a little chillier, and it was great. Even with the installation, it was great. I just can't wait. Anything else? Oh, I did get one more job. Mid-October. It's due. Hey, listen, jobs are slow here. But you know what? I don't owe any bills right now. So any 1 or 2, 3 jobs, I'm good with it. Like, I'm enjoying myself more than I was. Like I said last podcast. I'm not as busy. I'm not like killing myself. So
it's proportionate to what you're doing too, which is nice because like right now your job, in business is kind of flopped where it was in Texas. You're a little more busier which gives you more time to reflect on that, get that locked down. So when, jobs start picking up, which I'm sure they will, that balance can kind of shift back and forth. So it might be a blessing in disguise, really. And plus, like you said, you're getting to enjoy it versus, just go in the shop and pound stuff out. So,
I can definitely tell you, Josh, it's been nice not to have to come home and know that, oh shit, I got to go in the shop tonight and get this done.
Sugar.
It's been nice. But I will tell you this, I have been a little lost without deadlines. I can say that.
I can give you deadlines if you want.
Hey, if you got jobs, bro, send them my way. Like, I'm down.
No. I don't have jobs for you. We'll get to that later. But I can give you random deadlines. Be like, hey, Friday's your deadline. Be like, for what? I don't know. You have a deadline for something.
But winter is coming here. I'm getting prepared. And believe me,
winter is coming.
The reels will flow as the cold and the snow rolls in. It'll be funny. You guys may laugh or you might sympathize with me, depending. Because I know Corner Store Woodworking. He knows. Jamie over there, he knows what's coming because he's over down in Bismarck right now, and he understands. But yeah, anyway, that's all I got to go to the shop. I talk too much. Josh, bro, what's going on in your shop? You've been tired. You've been drinking tea, lots of water. What's up, man?
So I have the sexy radio voice due to a cold I've been having. So tune in next week. Anyway, long story short, I had some use or lose leave, which if I don't get rid of before October 1st, just goes away. And I showed up to work after my last leave, and they're like, "Hey, go home. You have 7 more days." I'm like, "Can I at least finish out today?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I got dressed in this. Might as well, work." But Jesus.
If you're a freaking Patreon right now, you will know this is why you need to be a Patreon. Go to our page, subscribe as a Patreon.
Nicely done. I was wondering what he was up to. Long story short, they're like, "Go home." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So it just so happened to coincide with a trip that my father has been planning. Now, mind you, this doesn't happen very often. It's happened maybe 3-4 times. As a kid, he took us down the Independence River up in upstate New York. And it's about a 20-mile hike in 2 days. You start at one point near a camp, and there's no trail. So you're going through the river, or you're going through the bank, following the river, and making your own trail with about a 25 to 30 pound pack. And you're carrying everything you need, and you're fishing the entire time. Now, I did that as a kid with him, and he did it with my brother, and then we did it as adults later on, and we got to do it with him again. But this time, it was my father, my 2 uncles, my Uncle Teddy, my Uncle David, and then my cousin, which is like an older brother, Danny. And I didn't know if I couldn't make it because I just took leave. Someone else is taking leave. Everyone's trying to get their leave out before the end of the month. And it just so happened it was in the perfect time, and they let me go. So I got to go. Grueling hike, but we caught a lot of fish. We had a good time. No bears ate anyone. No one got hurt, and got to experience the North Country the way I grew up. So it was a great experience to go out and do that.
Any bear repellent?
No, we brought my Uncle Teddy. He's small enough we could just throw him at the bear and run.
Hey, bro, shark repellent exists, so bear repellent definitely exists. Okay.
Well, there is, but we all had horns, little horns, like bear horns. So, every 10 yards, you were seeing bear scat, and they were out there. Black bear has been rampant throughout there, so we were all being very cautious, especially with our food and stuff. And so we were going through this. We do all this, and the next morning we're like, "How did everyone sleep?" They're like, "Yeah, I kind of slept with my headlamp right next to me, and then the bear horn." And then I was like, "Yeah, I did the same." And we all sat there and had it on the ready, if you will. But it was a great time, great experience with family. Next time, I think we're gonna do 3 days. 2 days was you do 10 miles in the river and hiking like that. It's not like you're following a trail that's already been blazed. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little more grueling than you're walking on slippery rocks and water that's running and But the trout out of there is just amazing. All natural, and that's the kind of stuff I like doing anyway. So I got to shoot my bow. I've had a bow for a while and haven't got to set it up. Got that set up. I'm actually gonna go get some stuff I need and start practicing some more. The ultimate thing for me would be go bear hunting with a bow. I'm nowhere near that right now. I still have to get a deer with a bow. I've never gone deer hunting with a bow. I have, but that was when I was a teenager. I came close to getting a deer, never got one. And long story short here, this ain't a hunting or fishing podcast, but I'm going to do it. We're going to start, practicing and try to get out there and get a couple deer. And once I am dead certain I can hit something with that bow, I'll try a bear from a stand and have my gun back up just in case. But yeah, that's, if you're not into hunting, I'm sorry, but that's a big part of the North Country woodworking. That's how I grew up. That's how I kind of let loose and, reset myself. So that's
just killing innocent animals. I get it.
How dare you freaking murderer.
They taste great. In fact, I actually brought some elk meat home from my dad's trip. But
hey, bro, send me some my way. Dry ice is a beautiful thing.
You got to come see me. We can have a grill.
Done.
Anyway, so we'll go back into woodworking. So I don't know if I mentioned this last podcast or not. Probably not due to timing, but I did a noodle board and a spice rack for someone that just moved in. And all the stoves on base are the same, and they live on base. So I don't even ask dimensions. It's kind of like you live on base. They say, yes, done. I can make it, get it out. For the first time ever, they went to go put the spice rack over the stove top, and it was like a half inch too low.
A sea hair.
Yeah. And I usually make it like a quarter inch too high so they can go push the light in the oven on. And I have to remake it. It's the first stove I actually ran across that is different.
Yeah, but that's not too terrible, right? I mean, the spice rack portion of it, it's three pieces.
Miters. Yes, 3 pieces, a miter, 2 miters, and sanding. It's not terrible. It's just surprising. Because I never
reuse the old one, couldn't you? Just
if they give it back to me, I'm gonna give them the option if they want to keep it for whatever. I'll use it for mine. My wife liked it, so.
Have you identified the difference of what that old stove that you're familiar with and this new one? What's the difference is?
It's a newer model of what we have. So apparently that oven, the stove, went bad, and they had to purchase a newer model because they didn't have the older version in stock. So the back is like an inch taller. So
do you know what to ask the customer or future customers?
Yes.
Make sure you make the right one.
Absolutely. That was a big learning curve of that particular one. And, I should have thought of that too. That was something, hindsight's 2020, but when you've made, I don't know, I've probably made a dozen of these things and never had a problem, especially on base. It has been what it was. But now I have to be on the lookout, and I'm grateful I happened to the client I have. They've been really understanding. They're like, can you just give me a shim? I'm like, you're not getting a shim. I'm sorry, but I'm going to remake it for you, and you'll get a new product. But I got a new shadow box, talking it over with the client. It's going to be the Air Force symbol with this master stripe on top. He wants the Air Force symbol painted blue and silver. And the star is going to be made of wood. Well, it's all going to be made of wood, but it's not going to be painted. So it's going to give it a little bit of pop. And on my trip, I'm thinking, why can't I do the logo in acrylic? He wanted something different. And I think that would give him something that looked and set itself apart. So I'm in contact with them now, asking those questions and seeing how that's going to come out. I'm doing another military working. Yeah, go ahead.
I attempted that, by the way. And my personal, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. My personal opinion on it, but on like a retirement shadow box, it's either got to be all wood or wood and metal, but the plastic does not work on the. I mean, you can do it. Don't get me wrong, you can do it, but I think it looks cheap.
You can do it.
Well, it's not really
look like it fits.
I think in this particular, because we had this conversation of I can use different types of wood to make therefore symbol pop, and he either wants it painted, which is okay, or he wants.
Have you thought about MDF? Because that can be finished to make it not look like plastic, but it can look solid enough to resemble like a grainless wood, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously, if I have to paint it, I'll be doing something similar to that. I want to give him options. He wants basically something that hasn't been. He don't want something too crazy, but he wants something that sets itself apart. So I'm giving him options, and we'll see what he goes with. I totally get the. I painted one of the shadow boxes I did, and I did not like it. There's people that absolutely love it. I don't. I agree. I think wood contrast or metal contrast is where it needs to go. But that's, sometimes your taste is not the same as your client's, and we just kind of have to roll with it. So that's just kind of, the road I'm going down with that and see how that plays out. I got another military working dog plaque I'll be doing. Something a little different, but something kind of goes back to one of the first projects I did for them. So that should be it's a laser project essentially, and a little bit of messing with some leather and chains, but it should be fun.
There you go, buddy. And safe words.
Yeah. Stay. And then there's something else out there. I can't remember. I did some 3D prints for my rotary, and I have yet to test out those modifications. So I'll be doing that here this coming week. I want to make sure that they're working before I go ahead and do an actual order. So I had a friend at work. They gave me a cup they weren't using. They're like, here, this is a throwaway. So I'll be doing some testing on that, see how that works. And if it works, then I'll be in business. So it works without it, but it will hopefully work better, and I won't have to use a rice bag. So yeah, I mean, I don't have all that much going on. I got some things coming up. Most of the stuff is like due in November, but I'm gonna try to knock it out and get it, out there sooner. It will be a different shadow box that I've done, so design work in there. But yeah, not a lot going on, but like Knapp said, it's given me time to do other things, and that's the other side of the North Country Woodworking, and that's camping and fishing and stuff like that. So, but well, Nick, what's going on in your shop, man? I know how busy you are, so take it away.
Yeah, why does everybody think I'm busy, man? I am busy. So I've been neglecting the CNC machine that I kind of came to a halt on that. I have deadlines to meet for other projects, so I have to kind of go ahead and pursue those and match those deadlines. So with that being said, I'm heading up to the Garrison Brothers Distillery up in High, Texas tomorrow. And I will be delivering a load, not a full load, but a partial load of cutting boards and barrel lids, Garrison Brothers, a flag, some coasters and bottle openers and stuff like that. So nothing is completely, the whole entire order is not done, but they are having bourbon camp this weekend. So they wanted to have some merch.
Hold on. Whoa. Bourbon camp?
Yeah, bourbon camp.
That sounds like a dream.
Yeah, well, it could be, or it just could be one. Like if you remember it, I probably wouldn't remember bourbon camp. Anyway, after that, I go back to the old grindstone. Got to finish up the Garrison Brothers order. I have a couple shadow boxes I'm working on, 3 to be exact, at the same time, and I should have those out within the next week or so. A couple of plaques. Couple of flags. I did the Garrison Brother flag. I put their star It's actually a Texas state flag, but I put their star as the Texas star in the center of the flag, or left-hand side of the flag. But I used some paddock and some maple and a little bit of ash. Painted the ash blue. And everybody loves a nice clean piece of ash. This ash is probably the cleanest ash I've had in a while.
Just a nice piece of ash.
Well, it's true. A lot of it has knot holes in it, and I'm okay with filling those holes, but I'd rather just have a nice clean piece of ash. So other than that, though, the shop's a mess. I don't have bourbon barrels stacked up anymore because I broke them all beneath the staves to make different items. But so my garage doesn't smell like liquor anymore, which is kind of sad. I used to giggle a little bit when I walk outside because it smelled like straight up bourbon. Yeah, that's about it, man. I'm really, really excited to get this CNC machine going, this Avid. So I don't know. I'm so excited that I haven't touched it because that doesn't say much, but I haven't touched it because I've been busy.
I'm gonna tell you what, Nick. I
was talking about myself.
Well, there's that too. So it kind of goes in line with my whole laser project right now. When you sit there and you grind, trying to get a machine put together, you start to miss small things and the important things. So I think it's important and honestly worth mentioning that, yeah, okay, you got your jobs, but you're not trying to force the issue with your new machine. So I got to commend you. Good job and not just forcing that stuff and trying to make it work, because at the end of the day, if you take your time and you do it right the first time, you're going to pay dividends more in the end than if you just force it and make things work.
I'm doing things I've never done before. I'm hooking up this spindle to an air supply, an air compressor, and that's how the chucks are getting held in with air, compressed air. So obviously I don't want to jack that up, because if I do, and it's got to be clean, dry air too. So I had to order a filter for the air to go through. But that's something I really don't want to mess up. What's up, son, Daniel?
No comment on that, Josh. No comment on
that. Caught that, huh?
Oh, we the PWN CNC auto tool changer?
I don't know what you. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
It is a really good idea.
But I already have one. So Daniel came over the other day and he told me how to install it. So I'm totally playing. Mine I got mine from CNCDepot.com. But I don't know if you guys have seen my pictures of size comparisons of the Z slider for the Avid and the.
I don't want to compare sizes or anything.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
No, I was legitimately thinking, how funny would it look if I mounted that Avid Z slider onto the Do you think that it would hold that spindle, a 30-pound spindle?
Oh God, no.
It wouldn't even hold it up.
It would be like
my machine's leaning forward. Oh man. And then
what's an X carve? I don't recognize that name.
I ain't gonna lie, I haven't heard anything about an X carve anywhere, any kind of social media.
Mine's officially a PWN CNC. It has more mods on there from him than it's not even an X carve. I've put it goes in Venerables and right next to it's PWN CNC because that's just what it is. It might not be made from Daniel, but it is now a Daniel made CNC.
Speaking of that, Kumo from Kumo's Workshop has his CNC set up now.
He does.
I don't know if you guys remember, but he bought my old X carve and he's got that sucker humming. And
did he whip it down before touching it?
No, I think he licked it first. Anyway,
what's that?
His tram is spot on. I don't know if you saw his
Kumo is a very analytical person, and he dialed that sucker in like spot on.
More so than I ever did. I'm just going to be honest with you.
You can delve pretty deep into that topic.
What, tramming?
I know. Yes. Tweaking your machine to get it just perfect. Oh my God, I know.
That might be a topic for a whole other episode.
Actually, this is a segue on something I wanted to bring up, and it just how happens that I wrote this down. People in the chat and my fellow makers here, I suggest that we do an entire episode, special episodes on CNCing, one on lasering, and then maybe a couple of other topics dedicated to these topics. Because as Nap was talking about his laser, I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that. And I'm like, wait a minute, we have so much more to talk about. And then when Daniel's talking about his CNC stuff, I'm like, oh, what about this? I think we should do some special episodes dedicated to these topics. So, I mean, what do you guys think?
No, I'm down. I mean, Daniel, as long as you've got the bandwidth, CNC stuff especially, I mean, you've got all of the accessories, if you will, for specific things like, tramming, I think is one of them. It's just overall like dust boot, using dust collection and all those things. So I think that would be good. And then lasering, I've got that covered.
Speaking of dust boots, Daniel, I'm going to need you to make one for my CNC.
Hey, but real quick, guys, I'd be remiss.
Laugh. I'm not playing.
Oh no, I wouldn't be playing either. But I would be remiss. This will be a slightly longer episode for our Patreon. So if you stick around, cool, awesome. If you don't, well, you'll hear it in the final cut. But we had some questions, and I would say they're pretty quick questions. As far as maybe it's current. Daniel, if you can't stay, it's fine. It's cool. But we got it from old Greg, Platte Valley. We got two questions from him. One of which is, could a person spray oil-based stain with an HVLP? I know that switches topics a little bit, but could one do that?
Could, but cleaning it would be a total. You
spray paint through there.
Cleaning it, it's going to be a pain.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can drive on the sidewalk if you want. You just might get pulled over.
You might.
Okay, so Greg, I will tell you this. When it comes to oil-based finishes, they're absolutely correct. The cleanup, I think, is not worth it when it comes to maybe doing something like that.
If you were going to do it, I would have a spray gun dedicated to oil and one dedicated to water-based.
Yeah, that would be.
This is for patrons only, okay? Patrons only.
I prefer the oil-based stuff. It's smellier, but I've always had better results from it. So the one example I can share is more of a paint-based example. On my 3D print farm, where I put all my printers up there, the racks that I purchased, I had to use 1/2-inch MDF to give me a solid surface to put the printers on. So I take a oil-based black industrial paint and painted them all. And those things are like solid. And these are MDF spread over this thing. So it not only gives you some good structural thing, but also it was very smelly to make. But once it dried and the smell went away, I love the result.
If you have the room and you could do it outside, or you have a special room for spraying, that makes sense. For me, I learned the hard way. I can't do much inside my shop. It's just too small. And when I do, it's I've done things like spray paint in the shop, and you can it starts creeping in the house, even with ventilation and everything. So I do stay more water-based for that reason. It's easier to clean up for me. It makes sense, especially during the winter. And in fact, I've actually stayed away from anything like that where I need to finish with an oil base or spray paint or stuff like that during the winter because of that. Because you can't do it outside because it's too cold.
Yeah.
I can't do it inside because, I don't want to die. So it's kind of like that 50-50 thing.
So to take a page out of my dad's book here, because he kind of lived this stuff for 13 years. You have to have excellent ventilation for things like that. But Clint also makes a very good point, is if you are spraying oil-based stuff, you do have to thin it out a little bit, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to finish with. But I would definitely, Greg, if I were you, if you're going to do things like that, make sure you have good ventilation. I think that's the key here for safety purposes. But it is entirely possible to do such techniques.
So to answer your question, yes.
Yes, you could do that. And then the second,
be careful of your heating source. So if you're heating your shop, be very careful with that.
Yep.
Hey, my stuff is exteriorly pulling exhaust. Okay, and that's a word that I made up.
But we had conversations about that before.
Yeah. But then to move on real quick to the second question, just because it's a good one. How solid, and this is for everyone, were you on your pay upfront policy when you first started?
You were asking me?
If this is everyone, and honestly, just real quick to answer, mine was very flimsy, and I wish it would have been more solid when I first started. But that's all I got on that. Nick, what do you got, bro?
Yeah, it was pretty solid. First, a handful of people, I was like, "Yeah, it's cool because I know you," but that doesn't always mean anything. And I got burned a couple of times, so now it's like you got to pay to play. You know what I mean? Sorry, that's just the way I feel, and it's nothing against people. It's just if you keep it that way across the board, people will understand. Especially if you show them a wall full of plaques that have other people's names on them that they never came to get their plaques and pay you. So
that's also true. Josh,
for me, flimsy. I didn't have that policy up front. I didn't. At least half, if that, and I actually bought a specialized tool for a job, and it was a job I was really uncertain on, and I was going to take it anyway. So, and they kept talking me down on trying to get me down on price, and I'm like, look, this is the price. I can't go any lower. And they're like, yeah, we don't want it. No, it wasn't. It was something. So, this particular job, they wanted me to make like a little patio where they put their chairs. It was a very small, wooded section they wanted, and they wanted me to use pallets to do like the frame. And they saw this thing.
Red flag.
Yeah, well, I was starting off, and I didn't know better. And long story short, I refused to use pallets. I'm like, look, I'm not going to do that. Like, if you get hurt with this, I just can't do it. So I gave them the price, and they were saying, okay, I guess we can move forward with it. And then they tried to talk me down some more. And long story short, they're like, no, we're just not going to do it. I'm like, well, okay. Well, I'm now stuck with this tool that I bought. After that, was it? It wasn't an expensive one. It was just it's like a 4-foot level. So I can go ahead and get the whole thing level. You're right. But at the time, I had no use for that, for the stuff I was going to build. I've used it since, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes sense to have in the shop. But at the time, I'm using house money, and everything I bought, I had, I wanted to have a reason for. So that's just my small story when it comes to that. That was my lesson. I don't buy stuff before you got the job, and make them pay before you even go down any road of designing or whatever. So,
well, by them paying up front, it gives a level of commitment from the customer, because it's not, your effort is worth something.
100%,
even if it's just the initial design effort. I mean, design is kind of the half the job, really. So their paying up front is a commitment, and it lets you know as a maker that, hey, they're willing to understand that making is a process. It happens. You go through it. You find the right maker who love their products, their what they make, and just trust them that they're going to make something really cool for you in the end. And that paying up front is part of that commitment.
Absolutely. That's why when we get asked this question, or people ask me personally, I don't even hesitate. I'm like, ask for it up front. Like, you don't need to learn the lessons that we've learned the hard way. I mean, some people need that. I know growing up, I was one of those people that my father would be like, you do this, you're going to get hurt. And I would be like, okay, I do it and get hurt. Age, wisdom, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping one of the reasons we do this podcast is to let people know, hey, we did this. This is what happened. Be smarter than us. So.
And I think Clint brings a good point here, and to wrap this question up for Greg over at Platte Valley. On general pieces, I charge 50% upfront if it's something you can sell to someone else. So like a typical stock item, very, very good rule of thumb there. But if it is customized, someone else would be able to want it, or if someone else could get it, it'd be 100% upfront. So like if it's just one of those one-off pieces that you can't resell. And that's a very good rule of thumb, I think. Typically now, after many times I've been burned, as Josh has mentioned, and even Nick talking about, his experiences, I charge upfront now more than I used to, especially really just for material. Because if I can get my material cost back, that's better than, nothing. But typically now, if it's a custom piece, you're going to pay me upfront, because if I'm going to put the time, effort, and material into it, it's going to be worth my while in one way or another.
Well, and it's going to be one of those hard things for someone starting out, because they might be overlooking a job or bypassing a job, which they're just not used to. And they're desperate for any job at all. So it's something to be
how I was
mindful of.
Yeah.
You try to give the best price so you get the job. And then as you're doing, you're like, I did not charge enough. There's a lot of lessons learned during, starting a hobby that's making money or a business. A lot of it is costly.
Yeah.
So,
but hey, folks, we're this is a good long episode, a lot of really good content. So for those that aren't here on the Patreon, when you eventually hear this, you're going to get a lot of good stuff. But hey, let's see, we start wrapping this thing up. Nick, give us
all right.
Bud.
So we want to thank Daniel for coming on the show and for being the reason Sawdust Nation podcast is possible. So thanks a lot to PWNCNC. Check them out on the World Wide Web, pwncnc.com. Do not go to pwnhub.com. That'll take you somewhere else. But if you need 10% off your order, go ahead and use promo code SawdustNation981. And that's off anything on the website, pwncnc.com. And next up, I'd like to thank Totalboat for your continued support. If you'd like a 10% off promo code for the TB, go ahead and slide into the Sawdust Nation podcast DMs. And we would like to also thank our affiliates, Makerstock.com. Thank you guys for backing us. And if you want 10% off your initial order at Makerstock.com, all you have to do is use promo code Sawdust10. And last but not least, thanks to OMTech for being an affiliate of ours as well. I'm going to kick it on over to Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC. He's going to tell you how you can get a hold, or what? No, he's going to tell you.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you how to listen to this thing, right? So, hey, check it out. If you want to listen to the Sawdust Nation podcast, go ahead and catch us on the Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of those podcast catchers out there. Buzzsprout does a pretty good job of kicking out to pretty much everything and anything when it comes to the podcast realm. But yeah, if you do listen to us, give us 5 stars, because, I think we're awesome. I think we deserve 5 stars. But if we don't get 5 stars, go and give us feedback as to what we could change to make it better for you. Give us topics, give us questions, give us whatever you think it is that you need to make this podcast better. But if you do give us 5 stars, though, still give us feedback. I mean, let us know what you liked. Let us know what you want to hear, because guess what? That's what makes us even better as we go on. But other than giving us feedback, there's other ways to get a hold of us, and Josh will give us that exact way to get a hold of us. Josh, what you got, bud?
Well, as always, first we want you to check out Daniel from PWNCNC. If you're not watching here, go ahead and check his website out at pwncnc.com. It's easy, one click away. You can check it out. He has everything laid out. I'm looking at it right now. Just add everything to your account, use our promo code, and buy away. Because if you're not updating your CNC and you're just leaving it be, you're not dominating, are you? So get on it, get there, and then follow him on Instagram too. It's easy at PWMCNC. He's doing updates on there. He has linked right to his website. So if you don't want to search that in Google, you can go ahead and click that as well. So if you're not following his journey and what he's doing, you're missing out. So if you want to talk to us, any of the three hosts, you can go do it on Sawdust Nation podcast page and Instagram. You never know who you're going to get, but that's half the fun. We sometimes, end a conversation with their name, but sometimes we don't. Individually, you can reach Nick at NPG Creations. He's busy. Give him some time. We're waiting for that mustache to grow back. But anyway, moving on. We have Nap from Nap's Naughty Works LLC. He's killing it down up there in North Dakota. And myself, Josh from North Country Woodworking here in Jersey. Yeah. Anyway, you can go ahead and message us. We'll get back to you when we can. If that's not enough for you, we do have an email account at sawdustnationpodcast@gmail.com where you can email questions, voice clips, pictures of your latest project, because we understand that not everyone that listens is on Instagram or social media. It's an easy way to go reach out to us and, be part of the podcast. But furthermore, the best way to be part of the podcast is be a Patreon. The money we raise from that goes right back to you guys. And we're starting to get enough where we can actually do bigger prizes in our monthly giveaway. So keep that in mind.
We just give away, Josh.
We gave away a Incra miter gauge. And I'm telling you what, I wish really would have won one of these in the very beginning. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole here, but having a nice miter gauge makes life a lot easier. I'll just put it that way. And you're not going to believe what we're going to be giving away next month. So sign up for our Patreon. Not only do you get 2 slots in our giveaway for every giveaway, you also get to chime in on our YouTube live recordings every episode. So we have a whole list of people talking in the chats right now, and they're just asking questions, engaging with us, laughing. Even me and my wife are going back and forth on there. It's a great platform to be part of the podcast. And then, even when we have special guests like Daniel, you can ask him direct questions. So just saying, it's the best way to do it. But with that, we're going to go ahead and slide into our final comments, starting with Daniel.
Well, I always end all of my YouTube channels, which are getting better. I'm working on the editing there, but it always ends in don't just own your CNC, dominate it.
You heard the man.
And sliding it over to Nap.
Hey, folks. So check it out. We all have a journey. You all follow it, hopefully, in one way or another. Learn from our mistakes, learn from our trials and tribulations, because that makes the community better. If you have questions for us, like Josh said, reach out to any of us. We will get back to you. Some of us are busier than others, so you got to give us a little grace period. But other than that...
Hashtag senior NCO.
No. He's talking about me, folks. But yeah, keep helping the community. It only makes us stronger, because here we actually believe in the community, and going away from the norm, it's going to be hashtag compassion for community, because that's what we have. We want to make sure we're all set up to be better as we go forward in our own journeys. Nick, what do you got, bud?
Well, like always, take care of yourselves and each other. And folks, it's football season. So in that spirit, if you're looking to date someone, go ahead and date a Cowboys fan, because they love losers and they don't expect a ring.
Yes! Yes, sir! That is the greatest ever. That's wonderful. How do you follow that?
Moving on. Thank you for listening to the 116th episode. Thank you, Daniel, for coming on. We appreciate you coming on. The stuff you come up with is just inspiring, and we can't wait to see what you have coming next. So, turn us on when you're going to work out. Go turn us on when you're making coffee in the morning. when you're in the shop, when you're at work, on the drive in, drive out, when you're trying to listen to a football game. We don't care. We just want to whisper in your ear and tell you about all the stuff we're doing and all the stuff we've learned in our journey. So we're going to make that short and sweet. And you guys go make some sawdust, and Sawdust Nation out.
Out.
Out.